I'll call meeting to order. Looks like about 11:50 o'clock. Accurate. So thank you for your patience. Loris, can you verify the attendance for the commission, please?
Yes. Today present we have Commissioner Sims, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Rodriguez, Newhouse Rodriguez, sorry about that, and Commissioner Palmatier and Chairman Stingel.
Thank you very much.
Absent we have Nesser and Bat.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. Chairman, we've established a quorum and we are in compliance with Indiana's open door law. Further, the meeting has been properly noticed, and we are also live streaming, and the meeting will be published on the Portage, Indiana website afterwards.
Thank you. Confirmation. Next, then we will have an opportunity for public comment. I will say before the public comment, many of you were able and fortunate enough to attend last night with us on some of our events. Very much appreciated, enjoyed the conversations for sure with a number of you. But now's an opportunity that we always extend to the public. If you have interest of making a comment, now's your opportunity. So please raise your hand, you'll be recognized, and we need to hear from you. Most of you are customers, but you may be general public wanting to know some information. So if that's the case, raise your hand. Okay. We'll take that as a positive. I have extended that before, not with this organization. It hasn't been too positive.
They didn't line up at the microphone, so that's a good sign.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about data centers.
Okay. Thank you all. You don't need to wait for an opportunity like this. Reach out to any of us anytime. That's an open invitation. At this time, then we'll move towards the minutes from the last meeting that we had in Jeffersonville. So I would ask for any corrections, amendments to the minutes, and if there are none, or if there are some, let it be known. If not, then we will take a motion for approval of the minutes as presented.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we get into special presentations. First up will be our CEO, Mr. Jody Peacock. Jody, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Happy to have everyone attend these meetings. It's meaningful because we do have these meetings at the ports for a reason, and it's great to have you here and be able to show you what we're up to and talk about the business at our ports. So what I'd like to do today is just give a quick update, Ports of Indiana's business. Some very positive things going on right now. Overall, when you think about Ports of Indiana, our critical contribution to the state is economic impact, supporting jobs, connecting our businesses here to world markets. And we measure that with an economic impact study, and what our annual numbers are for all three ports combined. The Ports of Indiana generate $8.7 billion per year as a direct contribution to Indiana's economy, and we support 50,000 total jobs. And so that's very important to us, why we operate, why we do what we do, and I think you'll see that number grow significantly in the near future. We've got a plan in place that we've got some big ideas, some big things already underway, and if you go around the port, I think you see some of those dollars being invested, shovels moving, and that growth plan is underway. For 2026, our financial perspective, we measure this a little more often than we do our economic impact, but we are off to a record start in 2026. Financials, both on the revenue and net operating income, we're on track for our 6th consecutive record year. And it's hard to stack these years on top of each other, but that goes, we got to give credit to the team, our staff at all three ports, our customers, really the commission and its direction and leadership. To have this kind of success year over year is a tribute to everybody's efforts, so we greatly appreciate that. The reason we do that, the reason we try to generate revenue and success in our ports is so we can reinvest. And so far this year, we have already invested $4 million into our ports. That's as of May, so that number is moving up quickly. We have another $25 million planned in port investments across our our 3 facilities. So very exciting things to come as we build out the future plans for Ports of Indiana. On the, let's say, the less positive side, cargo. We handled 3 million tons through April year to date. That number is down. That number is down 14% overall 3 ports. But it's a little of a misnomer because revenue up, cargo down. You may not see the connection there. 40% of our business is real estate, 40% is rail, 20% is cargo. And even within the cargo numbers, what we see is sometimes volume is down, but value is up. And there's some great examples sitting right here on our dock today. We are handling at this port the windmill blades. And Ryan, our port director, is going to tell you a little bit more about some of the future plans there. But these are the largest windmill blades we've ever handled at our ports. And project cargo and some of those lesser volume numbers produce higher value numbers, higher revenue, additional jobs, additional economic impact. So a little bit of a challenge sometimes in projecting what is a true value, a true positive, a negative. There's diversification in our business that creates challenges in understanding that all the time. But right now, record pace overall as an organization, and I would say at each port, we're also at a record pace. So recent highlights. We are getting so close to being done with one of the biggest expansion projects we've ever done at a port. $100 million expansion project at this port includes new bridges. We have 2 new bridges out there that you saw when you came in. We have 3 new docks that are getting really close to completion, 2 new rail yards, and a new warehouse that's under construction right now. So a lot of exciting things going on at Burns Harbor. And I've said this a few times, the amount of money being invested in this port right now, it's not just ports, it's the state, it's NDOT, it's others. It's grants. We've been really successful in grants. The amount of money being invested today is the most that's ever been invested since these ports since it was built in the late 60s. So this is a transformational time, really exciting to see the progress and the growth that's now possible with these investments. And on top of that, private companies are investing. That's the indicator of, well, do these things even matter? So you'll hear from Joe from Louis Dreyfus today talking about their plans to open up the Burns Harbor Grain Terminal, Louis Dreyfus facility. This is a landmark facility. It's been at the port for over 40 years. They're going to reopen it in a month, I believe. And so excited to hear about that and see the growth happening there. And it's not just Burns Harbor that's seeing growth. I guess it was 2 weeks ago we announced, had a groundbreaking at Mount Vernon, a $47 million grain terminal expansion by CGB, one of our largest customers on the river, is going to be tripling their capacity for handling soybeans through that port. We've launched a new internship program, which in a partnership with Indiana Southeastern, and I believe Jonas Powers is here. Jonas, stand up, wave to everybody. Our first intern in many years. Glad to have him join us today at our meeting. And hopefully a sign of things to come. We think we could have a few more interns, right? Depending on how he does. We'll see if we expand the program.
No pressure.
So far, so good. And one of the unique projects we've just completed in Mount Vernon, we opened our first ever bonded storage facility. And this is foreign trade zones is something we've done quite often in the past, but we've never done a bonded facility in this way. We had a customer call and say, hey, Indiana River Rail's our partner there. It's a joint venture with the port. We've got an opportunity to handle new cargoes at this port at Mount Vernon. Never been handled before, but we need a bonded facility, and we need it in about 6 to 8 weeks. Well, that would have been impossible, I think, in previous years. But with this team, taking a new approach to how we do things, taking a can-do attitude, we were able to turn on that facility. So not only did we had to build it, we had to get federal approval and turn all this on, and then have the equipment there to handle the product. We did all that within about a 7-week time frame, and the cargo arrived safely, and it's sitting in the bonded facility at the port. So we now have a bonded outdoor storage facility and a bonded warehouse, and I think that model is something, in addition to our FTZs, that we're going to look to replicate across all of our ports to expand the services we offer for our customers, the value we can have, and essentially foreign trade zones and bonded facilities are ways we can reduce cost in the supply chain and allow customers to expand their business. And then last, we have opened a European trade office. And Brian Dooley is in Ireland, based in Ireland, but handling all of Europe for us. We were going to have him on today, but he is on a port tour right now with our Chief Commercial Officer, Brady Jacoba. They are touring the Port of Brussels today and won't be back until later. So they're chasing new business for this port and also looking to help us establish a new venture that we're working on. And Dolores, hit the next slide and I'll skip the suspense on the new venture. As many of you know, we are launching a new container service here at Burns Harbor, and very exciting time. Ports of Indiana has been in operations for 65 years, and a regular container service has always kind of been a pipe dream. But we have approval now from Customs to go ahead and develop a facility. We have interested parties, we have vessels, we have carriers, we have freight forwarders. We need Customs to be on site, opening their inspection facility for us to be able to start handling inbound containers. But that's not going to stop us. So we are going to do an export shipment, calling this the maiden voyage this fall, where we do a trial shipment of 50 TUs from Burns Harbor bound for Antwerp. It'll be our first export shipment, hopefully coming on in the very near future. So lots of exciting things going on overall at our ports. And now I'd like to have our Port Director, Ryan McCoy, come up and talk about some things going on at Burns Harbor.
Can I have the floor just for one moment? First, thank you. You know, anybody that's ever chaired a meeting, you know you always don't want to commit the cardinal sin, and I did that. So please accept my apology. Mr. Secretary, we have the Secretary of Transportation with us tonight, or today. He's been a good, strong advocate for us, and I wanted to be sure and recognize Tim. Should have done it on the front end. So welcome for being here. Thank you for your advocacy and helping us be the best we can, and the communication through the administration, which in my time we've not had the communication that we have today with this administration directly.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I can assure you that this administration is 100% behind advocating for the growth of business and jobs in Indiana. So anything that I can do to help in them areas, make sure he's well informed is my goal. I mean, certainly, you know, this area is an area that has substantial growth, you know, associated with it, and we want to enhance that as much as we possibly can. And I can assure you that the governor's 100% on board.
Well, thank you very much. I can't imagine how busy you are, responsible for all the roads that we get the enjoyment of driving on in the state of Indiana. So for you to take the time out to be at our last meeting and for the duration of this executive session, today's meeting, says a lot, and it means a lot. And I just want to recognize that. And you've also got your right-hand person here.
Absolutely. Andrea is back there, and believe me, I do need a right-hand person to keep me straight. Andrea does a very good job on that. So honestly, very happy to be part of this group, and again, wherever I can help, make sure you pick up that phone.
Great.
You know, now I don't want to hear about the potholes.
No.
So you tell Andrea that? Is that?
Yeah. Andrea gets the potholes. I'll take the other ones.
Well, very kind, and thank you. I sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for letting me interrupt you there, but
Good afternoon. On behalf of myself and the Burns Harbor team, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today and the participation that we've had over the last 2 days here. I'd say this is some of the strongest participation we've ever seen here. We've been able to grow our events a little bit every year, and that's really exciting. We love to show off our port here, we love to show off our community, and just the very unique geography that we have here in Northwest Indiana. So as part of my business presentation today, I just want to take a step back and talk about what we have going on here in Burns Harbor. So Burns Harbor currently has 28 port business partners that drive more than 3 million tons of cargo through our port annually through a 600-acre footprint. Our port is part of almost 300-acre federal channel that's protected by an 8,000 lineal foot steel and armor stone break wall. The break wall in partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers that we have in the federal channel is very key to the longevity of our port, which we saw on the boat cruise yesterday. Burns Harbor has 17 active docks that account for 10,000 lineal feet of berthing space for Lakers, international vessels, and river barges. Our port has over 1,000 full-time employees, not counting the truck drivers, contractors, and vendors that support these operations. We have great access to major interstate infrastructure and directly connected to all of the Class 1 railroads. We handle various commodities such as steel, project cargo, agricultural products, bulk aggregates, and bulk liquids. On an annual basis, we handle approximately 75 vessels, 450 river barges, 11,000 rail cars, and 350,000 trucks. Again, that's not counting the employees, the vendors, and contractors that come in and out of our port on a daily basis. So that is why the new bridge expansion that Jody mentioned is very important to the growth that we have. There are many highlights. If we go to the next slide, please. Many highlights I'd like to share from Q1 and Q2, but just a few that are really the key points. I want to recognize the Burns Harbor Railroad. It is their third year without a reportable injury. Do we have our representatives from the railroad? Sam, please. Thank you, guys. I believe this is a tremendous accomplishment, not only for our railroad as a subsidiary of the Ports of Indiana and the Burns Harbor Shoreline, but to give our tenants the confidence that we can do what we say we do here at Burns Harbor. The next is the first ship that we had this year. That's the bottom picture to my right over here. That was the first ship of the year, the Ocean 7 Ranger, delivering a very large drum that is wrapped in the blue covering on there. It was going to the U.S. Steel Gary Works. So that's how we kicked off our season. As we saw in the boat cruise and Jody referenced, we have a lot of windmill blades coming in. We have over 200 windmill blades, probably getting closer to 300 windmill blades coming in on 12 different vessels. We just unloaded the first one this week. And that is not all that we're bidding on right now. So our partner Logistech is bidding on a number of windmill blades that come in and possibly be stored over the winter period and not shipped out until 2027. So there's a lot of windmill blades in the pipelines. And the ones that we're aware of coming in right now are actually coming into Burns Harbor and being shipped to Ohio and Southern Illinois. So these aren't even the ones that are going to start reaching the end of their life expectancy that we see along I-65 here in Indiana. So we're really hopeful that those are still in the pipeline also for us.
Excuse me, Director, I think they're wanting some attention from the...
Talking to the microphone.
Oh, sure, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Is that better? Okay, in addition to the windmill blades, we have other project cargo. We unloaded 8 generators last week. They came and went in one day. So they were put off of a lake barge onto flatbed trailers and taken out in the next day within 24 hours. Other upcoming projects we have transformers in the pipeline that actually be loaded on rail cars and taken to other places in Indiana. So a lot of very exciting things to come. And the last one I really want to highlight to wrap things up here is the startup of the grain elevator that Jody referenced and our partnership with Louis Dreyfus. They've been here for almost a year now contractually with us, but it's because of the amount of investment that they're making in the facility. And I don't want to steal any of Joe's thunder. He's going to talk about that here in a minute. But before I hand it over to Joe, can I answer any questions?
Questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you very much for the report, and thank you. I do want to add too, and I said it earlier in executive session, but for the public to hear, you and your team put on a tremendous event last night. The time and effort it took to put that on was noticed, and it's worth saying again, it's repetitive from our earlier session, but I want to say it publicly. Unsolicited, I had numerous tenants come up and say, many of you in this room, the quality of service in terms of speed and time and ease of doing business with you and your staff. So I think that's indicative from what I hear at the river ports as well, but it's notable. A number of these gentlemen here in this room said that, so it needs to be said publicly for the wide world web to see it and hear it, so thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Welcome.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Peacock, all the Ports of Indiana staff and folks that we've worked with at the Burns Harbor Railroad and everybody else. I wanted to start off by thanking you and allowing me to speak here today. I started with LDC in November of last year, and prior to that I was with another very large ag company similar to LDC. And just want to touch on the fact that LDC is really trying to broaden their footprint here in the United States. They have a large global footprint that I can talk about just briefly. 119 assets. We reach 40 different markets. We're considered a top 5 grain and oilseeds merchandiser. You know, our goal right now, between the region here in northern Indiana and also in parts of northern Ohio, is to broaden our U.S. footprint. We're building an Upper Sandusky, Ohio food processing facility that'll crush another 64 million bushels of soybeans, similar to our biodiesel plant just southwest of Clayport, Indiana, which is only 90 miles away. With that being said, I will say this: we're going to handle 3 different commodities for the most part to begin with. It's going to be wheat, corn, and beans. The majority of those beans that we handle through our facility will most likely reach the doors of our Claypool or Upper Sandusky processing facilities, destination. So, with that being said, to get into the project, we're investing 16.2 million bushels, $16.2 million in total between now and 2028 in the facility. Some of those major investments are going into, I'm going to have to skip around a little bit, but does this have
Forward and back.
Do you want to go back?
no, this is fine. So what you're seeing here on the screen is every single main conveyor that reaches our 5 tanks here to the right, and underneath the belts that run below it, the legs that extend upward from our truck pits and rail pits, and then the conveyor that leads out to our PICO system, which reaches the lake. Every single one of these belts and conveyors needed replaced, as far as a motor or gearbox that keeps it turning. The belts, including the buckets in each leg, also needed replaced or refurbishing. In total, the amount of money spent on those motors and gearboxes was over $1.2 million. To kind of touch on the rail pit in particular, I'll get to that, but I also wanted to mention that we are also replacing the barn shed cover, which also over $1 million in investment there as well. To kind of go back and touch on the storage capacity, it's 7.323 million bushels total. It's broken down in that list there, but essentially we will spend over the next 2 years kind of adjusting and using that space to the best of our opportunity presented in each market between corn, beans, and wheat. Our first line of business I'll get into will be wheat, but I'll step into that later on in the presentation. Expected volume for the 26-27 crop year, meaning mostly just the harvest time period here, between now and the end of 2026, will be 3.5 million bushels of corn, 1.5 million bushels of soybeans, and 1.2 million bushels of wheat. So 6.2 million bushels total. Those are conservative goals for myself, but realistic in what we expect to be able to reach in the local farmer community. Between the nearest 8 counties, I believe the farmer grows upwards towards 170 million bushels, so we're expecting to participate pretty well in that. At the moment, I will mention too, we're being very competitive when it comes to pricing. We have bids posted for both corn, beans, and wheat on our website at milebc.com. These bids are probably some of the best you'll see in comparison to our competition that they will be in our entire time here at the fort, I'm guessing. Just because we would like to use this year and 2 years, to invest in our farming community around us, to create a long customer list that we can continue to do business with over the next decade and further. So to list the entire scope of work, 22 gearboxes, 34 motors. Of those 34 motors, 22 of them are attached to each of those gearboxes. It took the longest amount of time for the 3 largest gearboxes, which hook to our legs. Those were sent off to Philadelphia and refurbished, and it took months for that to happen, but they were basically sent off there back in October of last year, and we got them back in March of this year and installed this last month. So, we're making really, really good progress, and we're on pace to start business towards the end of July, and I'll get into that. 2 conveyor belts, 203, 209, 2 leg belts. Those are probably 2 of the largest belts that we'll need to replace, hopefully, not including our Pico system, which we haven't tested vibration on yet. All buckets and legs, 3 new truck scales. The truck scales in total cost about $500,000. They're long enough to also include Michigan doubles if we want to participate in the Michigan agriculture market as well, which we plan to. 56 fans in total, so that includes all the fans around the barn as well as the air filtration within the bins themselves. Barn cover, which I mentioned was a $1 million project. The rail pit, the cement has been poured, ties laid, and track laid as well. The cement's dried up. I'll mention this a little bit later on, but we should be able to handle heavier locomotives. Before, I know there was issues, and Burns Harbor Railroad know this too, that locomotives weren't able to pass through our rail pit due to the structural integrity of the foundation. The Pico system, which is what leads out to the lake and will be loading the vessels and barges, will have new motors and gearboxes, all replaced, and this is part of the phase 3 of 3 phases that we kind of let out for ourselves, knowing that that'll probably be the last form of business that we end up using is loading something out on the lake. It'll probably be April of next year at the earliest. We're focused on origination and filling up the house first here this harvest. Bearings and fittings, Hazmon sensors all around the entire facility were checked and replaced if needed. Additions to the facility, lighting in tunnels, lighting around the rail pit, 2 sump pumps which will improve moisture levels in some of the lower belt areas. All electrical panels, new CompuWay system installed so that farmers, when they come into the facility, they just have to have their card in their pocket and it'll read it. They'll have a card or a ticket spit out of our machine, and they'll have total communication between that machine and the folks running the probe. Sherco automation throughout the entire facility, world class. Leading system in return line, or grading system in the return line, which goes 60 yards below our parking lot. That's something I hope to improve over the next 5 to 10 years. I'd like to become profitable in the next couple of years to the point where I can convince them to build a new probe shack right next to the probe so that the samples don't have to run through all that line to get to our grading beds. I mentioned the new foundation of the rail pit. Temperature cables all will be replaced within the next month, and a new grain monitoring system as well. This is how trucks will flow around the facility. They'll enter in from George Nelson Drive, which everybody is familiar with, I'm sure. Turn left on the ship drive and enter our facility there. The first thing they'll hit will be our scale. I think that'll be the second bottleneck. The first bottleneck will probably be when trucks first enter the port and they just have to show their ID to enter. Maybe that slows traffic slightly. But on the business, there isn't something on the side there, but there was words there. So that will be the second bottleneck, will be our scale and probe house. I think the first time that farmers come in, they'll be signing up their cards at times. There'll be times where they're a new customer and haven't quite signed up yet. Our objective as a commercial team is to be as outreaching as possible over these last 6 months and next 6 months to sign up customers prior to even their first delivery. We'll have a meeting on the 23rd of June in Valparaiso where we'll have a lot of these customers visit us and sign up for these CompuWay cards and things like that to avoid any sort of confusion or frustration at their first delivery. Another thing to point out, they'll dump towards the north side of the facility near the lake in the 2 truck pits. And then the scales that are outbound scales that we've installed alongside the inbound scale will then be right immediately following those truck pits, and they'll be able to exit then out of Steel Drive and then back onto George Nelson. So this is just, rail shed under construction. There's obviously cement being poured and things like that when this picture was taken. $200,000 investment. We've removed the spoils, added reinforcement foundation. We can now handle locomotives with 6 axles up to 480,000 pounds. 4 axles on cars, 320,000 pounds. So that if you're a rail guy or a gal, you know that it's equivalent to a Cooper E80 locomotive. So that's a rail pit shed today with the new cement and ties and tracks, everything laid, so it's ready to go. We expect to see, I'll get into key dates here. I'll get into key dates just by memory here. Right now, the next key dates to think about, besides the 23rd, on June 23rd, the marketing meeting, will be July 6th through the 17th. That's when we expect to test the facility with 5 to 20, it'll end up being 5 loads. What we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna buy about 5 loads a week from local farmers. The wheat will end up being used multiple times throughout the facility. So we'll send it through the truck pit, it'll go through, I'll show you right here actually. It'll enter the truck pit here. It'll hit this 203 conveyor. We'll take it up 31 across 213, 214, 215, 216, 217. Every single one of those conveyors has a replaced gearbox, replaced motor, and it needs tested with grain in it. It's had vibration tests without grain, but over the next month and a half is when we'll be testing it with grain. So that's when those tests are going to get down the wire. Eventually, we'll test the reclaim system. Once we hit these back in through 202, it'll reach belt 204, up leg 30, and over to 225. We'll expect to test loading trucks on the outbound side of things, as well as rail cars into the rail pit. The testing of the PICO system won't happen until either later this year or early next year. But that's kind of where we're at today as far as that. Other key dates, I guess, to think about too. We signed a contract with Agrex. They are a company out of the Northern Plains. They handle mostly spring wheat out of North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. They signed a contract to lease about, I guess that's the word to use, but use 850,000 bushels of space. That's our back bin 700, and it will be spring wheat brought in on mostly rail. I would say 90% of it's going to be brought in on rail. And we've had multiple discussions with the Burns Harbor Railroad about how this operation expects to work. And so far, everybody's on board and is confident that we'll be able to handle unit trains here at Burns Harbor, which is important because that is our best market today, presenting itself for both corn, beans, and wheat today into the Fort Wayne rail market. We expect later on to see water market, meaning barges or vessels, to improve to the point where we arbitrage out of those rail contracts into the water. We are an export facility. We would like to be an export facility and use the export capabilities to the most here at Burns Harbor. So additionally, the last date to think about is going to be October 1st, and that is when we are expected to receive our first corn and soybean loads. We already have upwards towards 450,000 bushels on our books for new crop delivery, October, November delivery. And that is between our merchandisers at Claypool, Indiana, and our merchandisers here now, which we have a staff of 4 total, including myself on the commercial team, reaching out to farmers, trying to buy their grain, letting them know that we're here and that we're ready to compete with even the best of the bids, which would be your local ethanol facility in Hammond, your ethanol facility over in South Bend competing on corn. Claypool is actually our biggest competition nearby. So, and they know that even us being posted 5 cents off them, all of our beans are going to end up working towards their home run. So, with all that being said, I just want to thank you guys again for my time to speak today, and I'll leave it up to you with any questions.
Questions from commissioners?
How many bushels does one of those tanks hold?
So I'll show you here. The front 3 metal tanks here will hold about 750 bushels apiece. And to put that in a boat's perspective, a laker can hold about 850. So what I want to do someday is just fill all these up during harvest, and as soon as the lakes thaw out, start loading a boat at a time, emptying every single one. And rinse and repeat. I think that's something that I dream to be the best way to run this facility. And I think that's exactly how the facility was ran back in the 80s, when they first started. So right now we're prepared prepared to be an arbitrage truck house, rail house, barge terminal, vessel terminal. And whatever the best market we can find is what we're going to end up, taking advantage of. And I guess to go back, these cement silos, it's about 70 apiece. There's 14 of them total. And then the interstices in between those cement silos can hold about 19 apiece, and there's 6 of them. So total of the 7 million bushel or 7.2 million bushels that the entire facility can hold if you include the emergency pile. The cement silos can hold about 1 million, and then you're looking at about 4 million in the metal tanks, 2 million in the ship.
How far do you anticipate drawing to get customers? I mean, how far into Illinois and how far are you talking?
I would say the nearest 8 counties would be our main focus, but it's really difficult to get grain across the Illinois-Indiana border for reasons being it's got to cross the Chicago market as well as the Illinois River market. A lot of farmers are very excited about us opening up, and they have expressed their excitement, but not necessarily their commitment. I know that if even we have 20% of what we expect to handle on the books prior to harvest, a majority of what we buy this year will roll across the scales as a spot. I think that that's just typical when you have a new facility reopening. Let's say Cargill closed in 2025 and we reopened immediately in 2026, that might be a different story. But since there has been about 3 years of idle time, those customers have found different avenues and have readjusted their own business practices to what they had to deal with.
Yeah. I'm sure the rollout when you're open for business will be properly done, and hopefully good things will follow that. Additional questions from commissioners and or the secretary, feel confident?
Good.
From the administration?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Jody, I had heard one thing about the bottleneck in the front entrance being their first bottleneck. And I know it's nothing new in terms of you all are monitoring that and awareness. Is there some way, and I guess I don't know enough about it, but I heard that, and I'm sure it's happened before, but is there something we can be thinking about or planning? I don't know, the technology is scanning nowadays that would expedite that bottleneck or?
Absolutely. That's something we've talked about in the past. Having, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have 4 lanes slamming down into a stop sign.
Okay.
So I think, a couple things to look at is, does that need to be the entry point? When we look at the security restrictions, the way that we set it up at Burns Harbor is that if a ship's in port, we have to secure the area around the ship. Well, the fences are pushed down to the dock, so that doesn't require the same level of scrutiny as you have to have a TWIC card to get on the dock. You don't have to have that to get in the port. Well, maybe that entry point needs to be moved now that we have 4 lanes. Another thing we've talked about is a fast pass, where maybe there is a separate lane for fast pass and a separate lane for the guard station. And I think that's part of the analysis we'll have to go through now that the new bridge is up and running, is let's decongest that area. We've got the ability to expand the widths of the roads, the main road, and that gives us flexibility to look at that. So we will definitely be exploring that in the near future.
Good, thank you. Appreciate
Good problem to have.
It is, and it just follows up on our willingness and sensitivity to meeting our customers' tenants' needs and to the awareness together. So thank you for mentioning that and bringing it again to our awareness. And management, as I said, I knew they were addressing it or aware of it, so we'll have to follow through as well. So thank you. Thank you for your investment, commitment. We'll uphold our obligations to you as well. And having the secretary here who's right underneath the governor, I'm sure he's very appreciative of WET as well for the investment in Indiana into our economy. So thank you.
Glad to be here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we
ready?
Staying on our action items, we roll into our action items, and our first presenter is Director McCoy.
Good afternoon again, everybody. The first action item we have today is requested action for the approval and purchase a sale agreement for a warehouse owned by Portage Real Estate Enterprises LLC and the termination of a property lease. Pursuant to Commission Resolution 23-06, the CEO is granted authority and signatory approval to acquire real property. However, termination of any lease originally authorized by the Commission requires the Commission's explicit approval. Little background on this item. Portage Real Estate Enterprises LLC leases approximately 8.2 acres of port-owned property at Burns Harbor under a ground lease extending through April 18th of 2072, if all extensions are exercised. This building is approximately 160,000 square foot warehouse with approximately 8,000 square feet of office space on the site and is located at 345 Salmon Drive in Portage. The financial details are in your packet. The staff recommends the Commission approve the transaction with Portage Real Estate Enterprises LLC and authorize the CEO to negotiate and execute all documents necessary to complete this transfer.
Thank you. Before I ask for any questions, I just want to, especially since we're being videoed on the web, people turn in. The Commission does scrub these with management ahead of time and is very familiar with this. So even though we may move fast on some of these, unless there's an additional questions, that's the reason why, because we have already studied these and reviewed them. So, any questions? I'll open up the floor. Commissioners, questions? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval?
Move for approval.
Got a first, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have, which one? Oh, Stacker, yes. I was trying to, I got too many papers here.
There you go.
George, you're on.
Yep. So good morning, good afternoon. So the requested action is authorized purchase of a Taylor GTX 9968 from Rycon Equipment Authority. Commission approval is required for expenditures exceeding $500,000. So a little background of this project. Our break bulk operator in the river ports, Indiana River and Rail, has a unique opportunity to handle oversized project cargo industrial batteries. This aligns with us to continue to grow the break bulk operation within the port, which requires us to invest in other type of equipment. The bid notice for this was posted on May 26, 2026, and the bids were due on June 2nd, but there were no bids received to the ports. Then we worked with Indiana River and Rail to obtain 2 quotes. Because the staff initially complied with statutory bidding requirements, the cargo is pending and there's insignificant time to rebid. Staff requests the Commission to approve the purchase of the reach stacker based on the quotes received. Staff has evaluated the 2 quotes and recommends the Taylor GTX 9968 quoted by Ryan Equipment. The financial and business implications are in your packet. In the recommendation, staff recommends approving the purchase of the Taylor GTX 9968 reach stacker from Rycon Equipment and delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to execute the agreement.
Thank you for your presentation. I would ask council just to comment that we have followed all applicable laws here in the bidding process. As the director said, there were no bids, but we went forward with the proper procedure to follow up on this.
Yes, we followed the statutory requirement to post bids for any equipment over $150,000. Again, no bids were received, and so we are asking for the approval to go with the 2 quotes. There's an emergency need for business reasons to be able to accommodate the load spending.
Yep, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing none, take a motion to the floor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, congratulations, motion approved.
Okay, for the next item, we're going to have Ashley Blocker come up, our operations manager in Mount Vernon, to present.
Good afternoon, Commission.
Welcome, first presentation.
Very first.
Oh, you do well.
Go easy on me. So I have item number 3, request an action is award of contract to the lowest and best bid for construction of an aggregate laydown yard. Authority required is Commission approval is required for expenditures exceeding $500,000. The background on this project is Indiana River and Rail Terminal has an opportunity to use available port property for the transload and temporary storage of 276 batteries. To support this type of cargo, particularly units comparable in size to containerized freight, additional storage capacity is required. Specifically, constructing a 4-acre aggregate laydown yard is being pursued to enhance the port's ability to safely and efficiently move, stack, and stage containerized sized batteries. The bid notice was posted on May 22nd, 2026, and all bids are due June 5th, 2026. Financial information is provided in your packet. Staff recommends awarding the contract to the lowest and best bidder for the construction of an aggregate laydown yard and delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to execute the agreement.
You did great. Any questions, comments? I noticed the hatched line looks very close to is that our property line? So are we good in our new mapping for the floodplain?
We are.
Yes, we're good.
Okay, didn't want an old picture, but we're good. Okay, any other comments, questions? If not, I'll take a motion that's put on the floor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
First and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
you.
Congratulations. Mr. Ott.
Action item 4. Requested action to amend WSP MSA cap to $1.5 million and sign a WSP task order for $741,689.64 to begin professional service work for the 140-acre rail project. Commission approval is required for all expenditures, for all purchases exceeding $500,000. A little background on this project. So WSP currently has a master service agreement with a $363,000 cap covering multiple port projects. This amendment would increase the cap so WSP can complete the engineering and due diligence for the intermodal rail facility project on the 140-acre site in Jeffersonville. WSP will provide project management, coordination, field surveying, mapping, civil design, geotech, engineering, utility coordination, drainage design, and stormwater and environmental permitting for this project. WSP's proposed services total $741,689.64 over 2 years and are included in Ports of Indiana's 2026-2027 capital budget. Staff recommends delegating authority to the CEO to execute the WSP MSA amendment and related task order.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions on the amendment from Director Ott, from the commissioners? Seeing none, we will take a motion on the floor for the approval of the amendment as presented.
So moved.
First, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, seeing none, congratulations.
Thanks.
Motion passes. Okay, we're down to FO, Erica Jackson, on our annual audit.
Good afternoon. I'm here to present the 2025 annual audit report. We are requesting action of acceptance and approval of the 2025 annual audit report submitted by Crow. Pursuant to Indiana Code 810-122, the Ports of Indiana causes an independent audit of its financial statements to be performed annually. Crow has performed the audit of the Ports of Indiana financial statements for the calendar year 2025 and every year since 1994. The independent audit is conducted for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the accuracy of the financial statements of the Ports of Indiana as of December 31st, 2025. The audit also includes assessing accounting principles used in significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall financial statement presentation. In accordance with the government auditing standards, Crow has also issued a report on the consideration of the Ports of Indiana internal control over financial reporting and on testing of compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements, and other matters. Upon acceptance and approval by the Commission, the 2025 annual audit report will be distributed as provided in Indiana Code 810-122 to the Indiana State Comptroller. The cost of the audit is expected to be approximately $50,000, and staff recommends acceptance and approval of the 2025 annual audit report submitted by Crow.
Thank you for your presentation. We do have in attendance with this Kevin with Crow, who was the lead on it. Kevin, have you got any comments that you would like to make in conjunction from outside? Appreciate your services. Question, did we stay within budget for what we had with our auditor this year?
So far, we are
So far?
projecting to stay, we don't have, we're waiting our final invoice.
See how long this meeting goes.
Yeah, well, that's a good
Just don't
incentive.
pay it if it goes over.
That's a good incentive. We're getting closer to the end of the tax money. No, I anticipate we will. And just again, for the public, we are in full compliance with all applicable laws that we're aware of and changes that have been made. Okay, good. Any questions from the commissioners or the secretary? Seeing none, we will accept the motion on the floor for approval of the audit.
So moved. Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Congratulations, motion carries. All right, Mr. Counsel, you're back up.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have requested action to adopt a resolution approving and adopting the Commission Code of Conduct. Last year, at our fourth quarter meeting, on motion of the chair, the Commission unanimously approved the staff work in consultation with the chairman to draft a code of conduct which integrates statutory obligations and best governance practices for the Commission. So we've supplied a draft of the Commission Code of Conduct for your review prior to this meeting, and staff recommends approval or adoption of Resolution 2601, adopting the Code of Conduct.
I'll take a motion. Is there a motion on the floor for approval?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, we have a motion. Are there any questions that anybody has that wants to bring up? Okay, seeing none. I'll just make one comment, and that is the importance of any entity having this, especially the type of entity we are. We're quasi-public and government, so we feel strongly as a commission that we have proper documentations all across the board in terms of ethics and conduct to be in place for our whole entire, including us as commissioners, but including our total team. Because we want to always operate, and we will continue to operate ethically and above the board. And so these are instrumental for us to have brought forward and documented and passed. So thank you for your work on this. Thank you for the commissioners' inputs on it. Seeing no further comments, then I'll take a motion for approval.
So moved.
You already had that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Seeing no others, I'll take approval of the motion, so all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Thank you for your work again.
Thank you.
Okay. So, we've got a few comments, and then I'll open it up to floor. That's all the official business that we had, I believe, Mr. CEO. And I'll give everybody a chance, opportunity to speak. But I do want to thank everybody for their attendance. Opened up with trying to welcome everybody and thank you for your time. Everybody's time is valuable. We recognize that. Many of you are business people in here, but you're busy regardless. So thank you for being here. I want to welcome our intern again, Jonas. Expecting great things out of you. And, keep us posted. I'm sure you will. Ryan, your team, Dolores, the whole team, for hosting the meeting this quarter up here in Northwest Indiana. And, I'll let the other commissioners speak too, but and I'm not just saying this, but I can sense the enthusiasm and the spirit of collaboration, working together internally and externally, and it's noticeable. So doesn't mean when you do big things, important, big, complicated things, you're not going to have some hiccups. We recognize that. But it's that working together and cohesiveness that really makes the difference. So I feel it. Others can comment too, but I just want to let you know how much it's appreciated, because we are representing the state of Indiana, this administration, the secretary, and, it's about jobs and our tenants, and we can't take it for granted, and always be humble in our operations. Don't think we're bigger and better than what we should be. We're all in this together, so thank you for that. Secretary, I want to thank you again for your commitment for being here. Again, a lot of time that you could be other places, but it's very, very noticeable, and thank you. Thank the commissioners for all of your support. It's a team effort, and we've got to work together. So thank you all for your support and questions and decisions. That's really all the information that I had to come before the commission today, this quarter. Is there anything I've missed that somebody wants to bring up? Mr. CEO, you know of anything?
No, I just want to thank you, commissioners, for your leadership. Commendable that this board took it upon itself to develop its own code of conduct, to go above and beyond sort of the standard practice here and set a high bar for the rest of us to follow. So appreciate that, and thank you very much for your leadership.
You okay?
Yeah, good. Actually, I would like to say a couple of things here. I too appreciate the cohesiveness of the team, everyone pulling on the same end of the rope. Look, any one of us can go out there and say, I'm going to do a good job, but it truly takes a team. I get that sense of the teamwork around here that I'm hearing from, the commission, of course, but also the people out in the field getting the work done. Very, very important. I want hats off to the railroad folks. I mean, 3 years without a lost time accident, I'm telling you, that is humongous. That's a big, big deal. Do not let anything ever stand in the way. Safety should be first with all of our people, whether they're the contractors, the people at the ports. Safety number one, every single time. And that kind of an attitude is always going to be a winner. And I really appreciate that approach to the job that's out there. So again, hats off to you guys. That's a big accomplishment. I managed mines for a bunch of years, and I can honestly say that was number one on all of us' target was lost time accidents, and the amount being zero is a big deal. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Everyone is involved in that effort. So thanks again.
Thank you. The last thing I have is to announce our next meeting. We'll have Thursday, September the 10th in Mount Vernon. So we will welcome everyone's attendance there. And George, well, you're both boards now, so you're
Hosting duties.
Yeah.
Get to host us twice a year.
Yeah, you get to host us twice a year.
We'll come up with something good.
I'm sure you will. Well, seeing no other business to come before this, again, thank you for your attendance, and thank you for all your involvement in helping the state of Indiana and the ports and your individual businesses be successful. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.